Hey everyone, or can we say Yahoo everyone? It's Brett Hornby here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Apparently the 2021 Calgary Stampede is a go, as organizers say, as I'll talk about in the story from CBC. But apparently we are going to have a stampede this year in 2021. As you recall, last year I was a little more somber and subdued, talking about the fact that the greatest outdoor show on earth in 2020 was cancelled due to the global pandemic. And it was starting to look like we might have to do that again this year. However, it sounds like it's a go. I'll bring up the story right here and I'll have to ask, what do you think about it? Is it a good idea? Because it talks about that they're going to call it the safest and greatest outdoor show on earth, is what they're going to call it this year. As I don't think it's going to be the same Calgary Stampede under traditional circumstances. I don't think it's going to be the midway, the chucks, and the rodeo and everything inside, because we are still social distancing and all that is still in style. I mean, given the 10-day event, and this year will happen from July 9th to July 18th. Usually, cumulatively, we have 1.2 million visitors that come to the grounds throughout the 10-day event, but I don't think we're going to get close to that this year because of the pandemic and not the fact that not many people are still going to be traveling. But it talks about that the greatest outdoor show on earth didn't happen last year, which definitely felt a lot, something was missing. In Calgary last July, I mean, at least they salvaged it with the food trucks and socially distant fireworks shows. That I captured videos of the fireworks shows that I have in my library. But it's going to say it'll be back this year, unlike any other previous years. It's not going to be that big bang that we were anticipating last year at this time. And it says whether that includes a midway, rodeo, or grandstand show is still to be determined. So before you ask, they don't know about that yet. I know that recently, I know it was kind of a protest, there was a freedom rodeo that happened in Bowden that stirred up the media and the COVID police. But thinking that, there's still, the threat is still out there, and the fact that, travel restrictions are still in place, even within this country where, I mean, as you know, the border between the Canada and U.S. is still closed, which you got to wonder how would that affect the participants that are coming to the rodeo or the chuck wagon, the grandstand show. And then, of course, how many people are going to have in the park. But the other thing we'll touch upon is that the safest and greatest outdoor show on earth is what we're going to call it this year. That says Christina Barnes, the communications manager with the Calgary Stampede, said, well, this story came out came out on May 14th, and it was last updated on May 15th. It said Friday, but I'm recording it when I'm recording it now. And it just say it won't be your typical stampede, it's just what you had in the past. I mean, you always have the midway, the indoor events. I kept thinking all along that if there was going to be a stampede this year, I'm thinking that this is still my personal speculation, it doesn't say in the story yet, and I was going to work that maybe they're going to limit how many tickets or how many people are going to try to have in the stampede grounds at one time, which I'm also going to think that this year, and who knows, this might be something that could go on going forward, is that maybe when the stampede is on, that there might be more satellite areas, of other parts of the city where you could take in the stampede. But, there's still lots of elements up in the air. As it says, Barnes says there'll be still the coincidental events like the fair, food, rides, animals, indigenous cultural exhibits, which is still going to be how they're going to do that as safely as possible. I mean, keep in mind it's still doing it as safely as possible. I mean, I'll put the story in the link in the description below, but it says, Barnes says people can expect a lack of crowds and more stationing on the grounds will be laid out to allow more space. And then apparently the whole grounds is 200 acres, but it's just, it's hard to say how it's going to work this year. I mean, it's still my personal speculation and opinion, and I know it's also, as much as it's an annual thing for the city of Calgary, and we definitely badly need it, not only for the economics and mental health. I mean, it's definitely going to be a very, very, very domestic stampede in terms of most people that are going to go. Especially this year, will be here in Calgary or in the surrounding area, not traveling too far. I mean, I know, for example, apparently I hear they have check stops at the Alberta-BC border that I can't sneak off to Mount Robson without the COVID police asking me why am I traveling, and it's still not wise right now to travel anyway. But I guess got to be interesting how that's going to come out. I mean, the only part that's controversial is the fact that there's still some other events and other small gatherings, like how many people you can still have in a church or at a funeral. I know it still gets too confusing in how they lay it out, where they say, for example, in the church you can have 15 people in the church, but if it's a funeral that goes down to 10, but then you can only have outdoor gatherings of 5. And also, I also had a better feeling that there was going to be a stampede this year because of that Chinook blast that happened in February. I was thinking at that time everything was outside during the Chinook blast, because this was the first year that they had it during the hub, during Stephen Avenue and during the Barclay in downtown. That originally it was going to be a 6-week event, and they got crushed down to 3 weeks, and I think there would have been more exhibits outside. I mean, I did a couple other side events, which might be the Stampede this year, where I did the Snowbird Festival and the Northern Reflections. I have all that on my YouTube channel, and yes, I do mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, but all about following along with this Calgary sports fan's journey is taking part in other things that makes Calgary, and the Stampede is definitely something that you can't mess with, and it still says volumes that last year was the first year it ever got cancelled. And keep in mind, it's been going on long enough that it's gone through 2 world wars. We had a Great Depression, and then some energy crashes, especially in the 1980s. But then there was the hope of the 1988 Winter Olympics. But the floods in 2013, the Stampede still happened then, and it sounds like it's going to happen in 2021. Just they just don't know how it's going to be. I know that might have touched upon it that earlier this year, when I did my Stampede Corral demolition videos, where I went to Stampede Park to take a look at the progress of the demolition of the Stampede Corral. Another reason I was more optimistic that there was going to be a Stampede this year is that an interested Mount Royal University student that looked at my videos, and that mural that I shared in my first video caught her attention because she was on the Calgary Stampede show band, and when they perform on the steps at the Southern, that's what you look at, but it won't be anymore because the corral's gone. I asked, and she mentioned about rehearsing this year, and I asked, did you rehearse last year? And she said no. That's also going to be interesting too, is how is the Calgary Stampede show band going to go? But I'll ask us, what do you think? Apparently the Calgary Stampede in 2021 is a go, but it's not going to be the same one. I know that apparently, although I haven't been to it in years, part of it because it's out of the way, and I have no way to get there, but apparently Calway Park, which is west of Calgary, is an amusement park west of Calgary on the Trans-Canada. Apparently it's still operated last year, and everything was spaced out. That's what I heard, but don't quote me on it. But I think for sure this year it's going to definitely be less events. I think it's all going to be outside, because the Chinook blast was all outside, and then if everybody's outside, that would minimize the risk of COVID transmissions. Also, we're still hoping that by then, that about 6-7 weeks out, that more people will be vaccinated, that there'll be a little less risk, and then the fact that we all still got to mask up, or maybe bandana up. Maybe they'll use that as a spirit of our Western culture. Maybe they'll encourage you to wear a bandana to protect yourself from COVID. I don't know, but it's kind of controversial. Just you hear other events still being canceled or still virtual, especially with graduation ceremonies for high school again this year. But it's definitely going to be much needed to have a Calgary Stampede this year, and hopefully they can expand it more and just food trucks that I wouldn't be able to go to because I don't have a vehicle to get to Stampede Park, and had a social distancing fireworks. Maybe that will happen again this year, but it will be on every night. But that still remains to be seen, but I guess we're going to have a Stampede this year, so I guess it won't be a subdued Yahoo, but it'll be a soft Yahoo. That's what we say in July 9th to July 18th, but I'll just be looking forward to have something this year. I guess 2022 is when we can have hopefully the first traditional Stampede back. Everything that we know with the carnival, the rodeo, the chucks, and everything else. And indoor events. I guess I remember when I went to the Stampede in 2017. I guess I could still maybe get my dog show fix. And of course, Border Collies are my favorite dog breed. Maybe that could still happen, because that was outside then. It'll be outside again this year. So anyway, what do you think about the Stampede? Do you like the fact that it sounds like it's happening this year? What do you think it's going to be like this year? And maybe you have any case against it, but we'll see. It's something that you have to keep planning or pushing off. It's not like planning little Timmy's birthday party. We're talking about the Stampede, and it was the end of April last year, but we kind of saw it, coming for months. That was going to be canceled, but that was when everything was totally locked down. We've just been in this shut down, open up, shut down, open up pattern. But hopefully, finally things are going in the right direction with more people being vaccinated. And I think the fact that if Chinook Blast happened and there wasn't a major outbreak like a week after Chinook Blast, everybody was outside. 99.9% of the people that I saw at Chinook Blast had their mask on. So I think it'll be a watered down Stampede this year. Everything's going to be outside. Maybe they'll limit how many people will be at the park. Or there'll be more satellite activities to do out around the city. Just to, keep promoting the social distancing. And who knows what could come out of the Stampede this year. Might be a new tradition where they'll still have the heart of the Stampede and Stampede Park, but have satellite events around it. Because I definitely find that over the years, Stampede Park definitely feels like it's not big enough, and that's before COVID and before we all get more conscious about what's been going on, and it's definitely going to be in our minds, for years to come, or maybe permanently. Kind of just like 9/11, where, suddenly everything seems scary and we think long and hard about things we never thought long and hard before, except this has gone on much longer. Geez, it's been 16 months, but that's enough rambling, so as I was say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home the Flames, Hitman, Roughnecks, and Stampede, and the greatest outdoor show on earth with the Stampede. The football team being the Stampeders, so not trying to get those two confused. But I mostly do Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, but I also do personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and also do share my experiences on the road or a sport event. And I've been doing some more vlogging on the go, where I've been sharing my experiences all around the city, and it seems like I've rekindled some memories for the Crescent Heights High School that I recently did. But if we're going to have a Stampede this year and I actually go, I'm definitely going to have to vlog that. It's definitely going to be a little extra emotional to go down the grounds this year, just because we missed it last year. That felt like it was missing last year in July. But it won't quite be the same, but it is what it is. So that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch. To follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, you know what you need to do, just make sure you hit like and subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below. So I guess we could say, Yahoo, we're going to have a Stampede in 2021. It sounds like we're going to. It still remains to be seen how it's going to be done, but as long as it is done as safely and practically as possible, the city of Calgary and Calgarians and everyone else around the area, we badly need it. We missed it last year, and all the businesses and that, they'll appreciate the extra patronage as safely as possible, and it's just our mental health and spirit of Calgary, and it just feels like it's been trampled on during this time, but we try to be resilient as much as we can. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.